Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And can I begin by associating myself and the opposition with the remarks by the Deputy Prime Minister about the terrible and horrific attack in Huntingdon. We wish a speedy recovery to those still in hospital and pay tribute to the brave actions of the public and the police. Now, Mr. Speaker, overnight, the father of the girl assaulted in Epping by Hadish Kabatu, the illegal immigrant, released by accident, said the government had failed them relentlessly. Now, I confess, I'm surprised the Deputy Prime Minister hasn't already apologised. So I'm going to give him an opportunity now. Will he apologise to the family concerned?
Let me begin by aligning myself and the opposition with the Deputy Prime Minister's words regarding the horrific attack in Huntingdon. We wish a swift recovery to those still hospitalised and commend the courage shown by members of the public and the police during the incident. Mr. Speaker, overnight, the father of the young girl assaulted in Epping by Hadish Kabatu, the illegal immigrant mistakenly released, said that the government had failed his family repeatedly. I must admit, I'm surprised the Deputy Prime Minister hasn't already offered an apology. So, I'll give him the chance now. Will he apologise to the family affected?
It's great to see the Honourable Gentleman in his place. I had expected to see the Shadow Justice Secretary, but nevertheless, I'm pleased to see the Honourable Gentleman. He must have missed the debate, because in the debate, of course, I said sorry for the anxiety caused whilst Kabatu was at large, and I repeat that, and it's hugely important that Dame Lynn Owens now gets to the bottom of what has happened with her further investigation.
James Cartledge.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Watching the interview last night, I have to say it was absolutely heartbreaking. And I have to say, Mr. Speaker, I do think he owes it to offer an apology here on the floor of the House. But he should have done that at the start of his remarks, Mr. Speaker. These are very serious matters, Mr. Speaker, which is why I want to ask him a further very important question. Can he reassure the House that since Kabatu was released, no other asylum-seeking offender has been accidentally let out of prison?
Deputy Prime Minister.
Well, the House is thankfully quiet, so I'm surprised the Honourable Gentleman didn't hear me when I said that of course I apologise and I'm sorry for the anxiety caused. But look, let me just remind him that he was a Justice Minister that allowed our prisons to get to this state in the first place. And it's now for us to fix the mess that we've got into. It's important that Dame Lynn Owens can now continue her work and understand what is happening. He knows that early release has begun under their watch in 2021.
Deputy Prime Minister. It's good to see the Honourable Gentleman in his place. I had expected the Shadow Justice Secretary, but nevertheless, I'm pleased to see him here. He must have missed the earlier debate, because during that session, I expressed my regret for the distress caused while Kabatu remained at large, and I'll repeat that apology now. It's vital that Dame Lynn Owens continues her investigation to fully uncover what went wrong. James Cartledge. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. After watching the interview last night, I found it absolutely heartbreaking. I truly believe the Deputy Prime Minister should issue a direct apology here in the House, something that should have come at the very start of his remarks. These are extremely serious issues, Mr. Speaker, which is why I'd like to ask another crucial question. Can he assure this House that, since Kabatu's release, no other asylum-seeking offender has been mistakenly freed from prison? Deputy Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, the chamber is quiet enough that I'm surprised the Honourable Gentleman didn't hear me earlier. Of course, I've already apologised for the anxiety caused, but let me remind him it was under his party's time in office that our prisons reached this dire condition in the first place. Now, it falls on us to clean up the mess we inherited. It's essential that Dame Lynn Owens is allowed to carry out her inquiry thoroughly and identify what truly happened. He knows that early release procedures actually began under their administration back in 2021.
Mr. Speaker, these are extremely serious crimes that we are talking about. I'm going to ask him the question again. Can he reassure the House that since Kabatu was released, no other asylum-seeking offender has been accidentally let out of prison? It's a very specific question for him to answer.
Deputy Prime Minister.
After his release, I put in place the toughest checks we've ever had in the prison system. It is important that Lynn Owens is able to get to the bottom of her work. I suspect there'll be more checks and balances we need to do. What we inherited was a complicated system that they set up, letting people out on the sly. That's part of the problem, and we're trying to fix it.
Mr. Speaker, he's the Justice Secretary. He's responsible for the justice system. He needs to take responsibility, and I'm asking him a straight question. And I'm going to repeat it once more for the avoidance of doubts, because he didn't answer it twice. He's here to answer questions. Can he reassure the House that since Kabatu was released, no other asylum-seeking offender has been accidentally let out of prison? It's a clear question. Can he give an answer?
Deputy Prime Minister.
Get a grip, man. I know I'm the Justice Secretary. That's why I'm at the dispatch box, also as Deputy Prime Minister. We know that. I'm not going to pray in aid. Dame Anne Owens is a former Deputy Commissioner in London, head of the NCA. It is for her to get to the bottom of that work. Of course, we know that there have been spikes since 2021 under his watch. When did he come to this House and apologise?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The purpose of government is to take...
I want to hear both. Quiet. James Coffey.
Mr. Speaker, it's getting noisier now, so just in case he didn't hear me. He's the Justice Secretary. Can he reassure the House that since...
Mr. Speaker, these are extremely grave crimes we're discussing. I'll ask the question again. Can the Deputy Prime Minister assure the House that, since Kabata's mistaken release, no other asylum-seeking offender has been wrongly freed? It's a simple and specific question. Deputy Prime Minister, following Kabata's release, I implemented the toughest security checks our prison system has ever had. Dame Lynn Owens is continuing her investigation, and there may well be further safeguards required. The truth is, we inherited a flawed system from them, one that quietly enabled early releases. That's part of the reason we're in this situation, and we are determined to fix it. James Cartledge. Mr. Speaker, the Justice Secretary himself is responsible for the justice system. He needs to take ownership and give a clear answer. So once again, I'll repeat my question for clarity. Can he confirm that no other asylum-seeking offender has been accidentally released from custody? Deputy Prime Minister. Get a grip, man. I know exactly why I'm here as Justice Secretary and Deputy Prime Minister. Dame Lynn Owens, a former Deputy Commissioner of the Metropolitan Police and head of the NCA, is leading the inquiry, and it's right that she completes her work. And let's not forget, there were release spikes under his watch since 2021. When did he ever come before this House and apologise?
I will have no gestures from the balcony. Let me reassure you, don't gesture to me. It's not a wise decision. This is important. Prime Minister's questions, all our constituents are listening.
People in Epping and right across the country want to know the answer, Mr. Speaker. So I'm going to ask him again. He's the Justice Secretary. Can he reassure the House that since Kabatu was released, no other asylum-seeking offender has been accidentally let out of prison? Can he answer the question?
Deputy Prime Minister.
I've got to tell you, I spent 14 years in opposition, and I did a hell of a lot better than he's just done. I have answered the question. Under their watch, prisons were in a mess. Suicides went up. Prison officers cut. 20,000 neighbourhood polices lost. We've deported more in the last year than they deported in the last 5 years. Please, I'm not going to take any lecture from the honourable gentleman.
Mr. Jewis and Mr. Stafford, you test my patience each week. Today's not the day to test my patience. We do have quite a bank holiday, so I certainly wouldn't want to be testing it at the moment. James Cartledge.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The public are extremely concerned about what happened in the Kabatu case. They want to know there won't be a repeat. So I'm putting to him a very clear question about his responsibilities. I repeat, Can he reassure the House that since Kabatu was released, no other asylum-seeking offender has been accidentally let out of prison? Can he answer the question?
Deputy Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I'm looking forward to being up against the member for Newark next time. In 25 years in this House, I've not witnessed a more shameful spectacle, frankly, than what the party opposite left in our justice system. Their criminal negligence on his watch as a former Justice Minister. They left our prisons on the brink of collapse entirely, threatening to allow offenders to run wild on our streets. He knows that. Rape victims waiting years for their day in court. He knows that. Neighbourhood policing decimated, leaving our people feeling unsafe in their communities, and they haven't learned a thing. We are tackling knife crime, that's why it's falling. 13,000 more bobbies we are putting on the streets, kicking out 5,000 foreign criminal offenders. I've got to say to the honourable gentleman, he should do better.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My constituent, Georgia Hart.
More, I got it to 6. James Cartland. Order. It is 6. All right. 6, you've had your 6.
Section 6 ***. Mr. Speaker. The purpose of government is accountability. James, please hold for a moment, it's getting noisy now. Let's ensure we hear the question properly. James Cartledge. He is the Justice Secretary. Can he categorically reassure the House that since Kabata's release, no other asylum-seeking offender has been mistakenly freed? Mr. Speaker. And I'll have no gestures from the balcony. Don't do that, it's unwise. These are Prime Minister's questions, our constituents are listening. The public in Epping and across the country want clear answers, Mr. Speaker. So once again, can he give a straight response? Deputy Prime Minister. I spent 14 years in opposition, and I handled myself far better than he just did. I have answered the question. Under their leadership, prisons fell apart, suicides rose, prison staff were slashed, and 20,000 neighborhood officers were lost. We've deported more offenders in the past year than they did in 5. So, with all due respect, I'll take no lectures from the honourable gentleman. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Juris and Mr. Stafford, you test my patience every week. Don't push it today. We have a long weekend ahead, so let's not make this harder than it needs to be. James Cartledge. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The public are deeply worried about what happened with Kabatu. They want reassurance that such a failure won't happen again. So I'll ask once more, can the Deputy Prime Minister confirm that since Kabata's release, no other asylum-seeking offender has been mistakenly freed? Please, just answer the question. Section 8 ***. Deputy Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, I must say, I look forward to facing the member for Newark next time. In my 25 years in this House, I've rarely seen a more shameful legacy than what the opposition left behind in our justice system. Their negligence under his tenure as Justice Minister left prisons on the verge of collapse, risking chaos in our streets. He knows that. Rape victims waited years for justice, he knows that. Neighborhood policing was decimated, leaving communities unsafe. They've learned nothing. We are tackling knife crime and it's falling. We've put 13,000 more officers on the streets and deported 5,000 foreign offenders. Frankly, Mr. Speaker, the honourable gentleman should be doing far better. Jonathan Blash. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My constituent, Georgia Hart. Mr. Speaker. Order. It's 6. Yes, I was correct. Proceed.